Okay.
I've been through the system, buddy. I know how
I know
it
you
works.
have. I know you have,
You're
Jeff.
not my friend.
I'm not your friend.
You're trying to get me. Or you're
No,
trying
I'm not trying to get
all
you.
you're trying to get is some stupid ass confession, and you're not going to get one.
On a seemingly ordinary night in 2011, alarms started going off at a 7-Eleven, and soon the police station was flooded with reports of an armed robbery. But when officers arrived on the scene, there was no sign of the suspect. As the search widened, the officers heard a sound coming from a nearby house and immediately broke into it, as there were no clues to the suspect's whereabouts. Inside the house, they found a man with a known heroin addiction and a gun in his possession. Without any other evidence, he was arrested and taken in for questioning. That man was Jeff Pearson. What happened next will go down in history as one of the rare times when a single suspect beat the cops at their own game. And even though he was suffering from heroin withdrawal symptoms, he turned the tables in his favor. The next 24 hours were entirely recorded by police cameras inside the interrogation room, where Jeff was held at the police station for almost a full day. Although 3 interrogation sessions took place during this time, they totaled barely more than 15 minutes. Since the crime took place in the state of Georgia, the expected punishment usually ranges from at least 10 years in prison to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Surprisingly, Jeff didn't even serve a single minute of that sentence. Instead of spending decades behind bars, he spent his day having drinks and candy, providing an unforgettable lesson in how to behave while in police custody. The following footage reveals, amazingly, the different tactics the cops tried to use on Jeff and how he managed to dodge them with professional-like dexterity. The footage begins with Jeff handcuffed in a small windowless room, wearing a prison uniform.
Am I under arrest?
For now.
I'm under arrest?
Yeah, I'll explain everything, but before I explain myself to you, before we talk to each other, I need to read your rights, okay?
What am I under arrest for?
Well, like I said, I need to read your rights first. Obviously, the charge is robbery, okay?
Once inside, Jeff immediately starts asking if he is officially detained and on what grounds. From the first moment, it's clear that Jeff didn't come into this situation unprepared. He's done his research. From here, you have 2 options. If you are not arrested or detained, you can simply state that you are under no obligation to stay or answer questions, and you should be allowed to leave immediately. If you are already detained, you can request a lawyer immediately and refrain from speaking until one is provided. These options give you the best chance to protect yourself and build a strong legal defense. Surprisingly, in the United States, police are required by law to inform you of these rights when you are arrested. You have the right to speak with a lawyer before interrogation, and if you can't afford one, one will be provided for you.
Can you read with me? Just read in your head, okay? Before we ask you any questions, you must understand what your rights are. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to the lawyer for advice before we question you, and have him or her with you during questioning. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer and you want one, a lawyer will be provided for you. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you'll still have the right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to stop answering at any time that you want until you talk to the lawyer. Does that make sense? You've probably heard these before, haven't you?
But what the investigator didn't mention in this case is the most important point. If you ask for a lawyer, the police have no right to continue interrogating you. It becomes your full and inalienable right to refuse to answer any question until your lawyer is present.
Does that make sense? Do you understand your rights? Do you understand your rights, Jeff? Yes or no? You understand?
We're getting paid more than you are, so we can sit here for a long time, man.
I just need you to answer me yes or no. Do you understand your rights? Let's get through that question. Do you understand what I read you? Did you comprehend what I read you?
At the beginning of the interrogation, we see the lead interrogator leaning back in his chair as if trying to send an indirect message. But the truth is that this body language posture often reveals internal tension, not indifference. It's clear that the detective knew the task ahead would not be easy.
If you got something that says you didn't do this robbery, this is your chance to talk to us.
Okay, good cop.
No, usually I'm the prick.
You look like the prick.
I am.
Jeff, on the other hand, handled it brilliantly. He ignored everything the police were trying to do and metaphorically threw it in the trash.
Jeff, do you understand your rights? Yes or no? I'm not asking if you want to talk to me at this point. I just want to know, do you understand what I read to you?
So am I under arrest?
Yes, you're under arrest.
Get me back to the cell. I don't talk to you motherfuckers.
Okay, fair enough.
In the first round of questioning, Jeff behaved perfectly given his circumstances. He knew the police had no real evidence against him. If they did, they wouldn't be sitting here trying to extract a confession from him, so he kept quiet. After about 2 hours, they brought him back to the same interrogation room for the second round.
You wanted a Coke?
Yeah.
You gonna be able to pop it open, or you need me to?
I need methadone.
You need methadone?
Yeah, you guys can get me that methadone?
I don't have any. Do you have medication for it, or a prescription for it? Or?
No.
What do you need methadone for?
Because I'm a fucking junkie, and you guys, I can't get no methadone. I'm gonna go through withdrawal here in a minute.
He asked for a can of soda, and that was all he wanted before returning. But he soon indicated that he was starting to feel the effects of heroin withdrawal, which was getting worse. At the beginning of the conversation, he had asked for methadone, which is known to effectively relieve withdrawal symptoms.
Where do you usually get your methadone from?
I don't get it. I get heroin.
How long you been using heroin?
Long time, buddy.
10 years? 15 years?
I hardly been alive that long. What are you trying to talk to me about here?
Talk to you about what happened last night. Look, here's the deal. Either you're in a bad set of circumstances, or you went and committed an armed robbery last night.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm in a shitty, wrong place at wrong time, obviously. I didn't commit no fucking armed robbery.
All right, then let's talk about this. Let's
I
not
don't have
keep
nothing.
up
I
the
don't talk
act.
to the police, man.
At this point, Jeff was no longer interested in friendly conversation, but wanted to focus on what he saw as a clear injustice. Even though he was handcuffed, his responses remained surprisingly coherent and intelligent, so much so that you get the sense that the man had prepared for this show beforehand.
Okay.
I've been through the system, buddy. I know how
I know
it
you
works.
have. I know you have,
You're
Jeff.
not my friend.
I'm not your friend.
You're trying to fucking get me. Or you're
No,
trying
I'm not trying to get
all
you.
you're trying to get is some fucking stupid ass fucking confession, and you're not gonna get one.
Jeff, I'm not going to get a
'Cause-
confession out of you for nothing.
Exactly, because I
And
didn't
I'm
do
not
nothing.
trying to get a confession out of you.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you, I didn't commit no armed robbery, and y'all ain't got no fucking evidence saying I did. Let me go. All you did is find me sitting in my buddy's house because my fucking buddy's dog's going ape shit. I go outside, there are cops everywhere, and they spotlight me. They say, "Come here." I say, "What's up?" They search me. They ain't
Hang
find
on.
nothing. What's
Let
up?
me read this.
No,
before- Yes.
because I'm not gonna sign it.
You don't have to sign it. But let me read it for you. Okay?
I'm not signing nothing.
You don't have to sign it.
What he did here is a masterclass in legal self-defense, made all the more powerful when you remember that he was in the midst of strong withdrawal symptoms. One of the most important points Jeff made was his indirect accusation that the investigators were trying to force a confession, a common practice in many interrogation rooms, but just as serious as the crime itself. One of the most prominent techniques used in interrogations is the reading technique, invented by a former policeman and psychiatrist in the 1960s after he successfully extracted a confession from a man accused of killing his wife. It consists of 9 steps, beginning with a polite conversation about why the suspect is being accused, followed by certain body language cues and movements during the interrogation that are meant to put the suspect in a position of guilt. Finally, the suspect is presented with 2 contradictory plea options, either of which becomes a confession. This method dangerously tightens the noose around the suspect and is often used to obtain false confessions from innocent people.
Let me read it. You heard it earlier already. You've been through the system. You know it. It ain't going to change a thing. You're still sitting here. Warning as to your rights guaranteed by the Miranda decision of the Supreme Court of the United States.
You already read it to me earlier.
I know we did, but I'm going to read it to you again.
Thanks for the coat.
But Jeff was different, now asking for a lawyer and refusing to answer questions. However, this was only half the battle.
I don't get why I don't.
Well, here's what the deal is. I have enough evidence
Like what?
of the armed robbery, okay? But, you know, if you're saying you didn't do it, you need to give me your side of the story.
I didn't do it.
Okay, well, give me your side of the story. You got, convince me. Because I got a lot of evidence. I got a lot of physical evidence.
Well, like what? Name the
Well, I don't need to, why should I tell you that?
Meanwhile, Jeff's abilities to defend himself began to show. As time passed, the interrogator became desperate. Knowing that time was running out, he abandoned his elaborate strategies and started relying on false threats, claiming that he had alleged evidence that could convict him. But Jeff remained steadfast, not caring about anything the interrogators said. The investigators knew that if they didn't get anything out of Jeff, they were running out of time. At this point, they broke all laws and insisted on continuing to interrogate him despite his constant requests for a lawyer. Jeff continued to deny everything he was being told, and the detectives were trying to use threatening tactics, even threatening him with what he might face in prison without the drugs he had become dependent on.
I'm done, man. Fuck this. I'm not even answering. All this shit that I just said is gonna be fucking written in the discovery now, right?
What? You haven't said nothing.
I mean, every little stupid thing that you've asked me, dude, is gonna be in the discovery.
I'm not even going to do discovery.
The prosecutor is.
Okay. So, you halfway know the system, how things work, and you halfway don't. Am I right?
I half-ass know
Yeah.
that the only reason I came up here is to get a fucking Coke.
Okay.
And I got it. But now I want a Butterfinger.
But that's not going to happen for a while.
What, the Butterfinger?
Yeah.
Why not? I need to go to the hospital. I'm coughing up blood.
Okay.
Let's go to the hospital.
The police were interrogating a man who was clearly suffering while denying him legal medication that would have helped him alleviate his issues. They kept questioning him over and over again about a crime for which they had no evidence. Through it all, Jeff tried to handle the situation as nonchalantly as possible, demanding sodas and chocolate bars. He was fully aware that a simple mistake could send him down a slippery slope. In the end, he successfully exercised his legal rights to perfection. After 12 hours, his release from detention was recorded, and he was sent on his way, free of charges. Of course, this moment was the beginning of a turning point in his life as he quit heroin and began to turn his life around for the better